Anthony Browne, global poverty appears to have fallen off the British agenda in politics. Together I hope we can change this. So what is the ODA? The Overseas Development Assistance stands as a cornerstone of global development efforts. It is designed to address socio-economic disparities and promote sustainable progress across the world. Serving as a strategic tool, ODA primarily focuses on economic advancement with the overarching goal of alleviating global poverty. By investing in infrastructure, healthcare, education, and other essential sectors, the ODA endeavours to empower communities and catalyse positive change on a global scale. Impact of the ODA. The impact of the ODA transcends mere statistics. It profoundly transforms lives and uplifts communities. By significantly enhancing the living standards of some of the world's most poorest and vulnerable populations, the ODA serves as a beacon of hope in regions plagued by poverty and inequality. Moreover, it plays a pivotal role in combating systemic issues such as gender-based violence, infant mortality, and promoting equality in education, thereby laying the groundwork for a more equitable and just society. However, despite all this, the ODA has faced severe neglect. The ODA has often been relegated to the sidelines and treated as an optional component of foreign policy. Recent policy shifts, such as the transfer of the Department of International Development to the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, underscore a concerning trend for deprioritisation of international development by certain government entities. This neglect not only undermines the efficiency of the ODA, but also jeopardises the progress made in addressing the pressing global challenges. The reason that supporting an increase in ODA funding is so important is that global poverty remains a pervasive challenge. With 719 million people representing almost 10% of the world's population struggling to survive on less than $2.15 a day, these individuals face immense hardships as they strive to meet their basic needs amid dire economic conditions. Children and youth bear the brunt of poverty particularly, comprising 2/3 of the world's poor. Additionally, women are disproportionately affected by poverty in most regions, exacerbating gender disparities and hindering socio-economic progress. Extreme poverty is also starkly concentrated in sub-Saharan Africa, where conditions are especially challenging due to factors such as inadequate infrastructure, political instability, and limited access to essential services. Access to education remains a critical barrier for individuals living in extreme poverty, with roughly 63% of those adults lacking adequate schooling. This educational deficit severely hampers their opportunities for socio-economic advancement and perpetuates cycles of poverty. Furthermore, a staggering 1.2 billion people across 111 developing countries experience multi-dimensional poverty, affecting 20% of the global population. Among them, 593 million are children, highlighting the complex interplay of socio-economic factors that contribute to their deprivation. Poverty in developing countries or developed countries is also concerning. Despite being considered the most advanced economies in the world, the US has 37 million people living in poverty, with 11.1 million of them being children. This underscores the persistence of poverty even in wealthy nations, revealing systemic inequities and socio-economic disparities that demand attention and action. Laid out below are 5 of the UK's objectives for their UK funding for the ODA. As you can see, poverty alleviation, healthcare, education, gender equality and humanitarian assistance remain priorities for the UK government. Despite this, they haven't fulfilled the 0.7% of GNI promised to the ODA. So why is it so important that the UK directs its attentions towards the ODA and international development? Well, since the pandemic, the UK has reduced its funding for the ODA to 0.51% of GNI rather than the globally committed 0.7%. The UK's international development funding, while it has been promised an increase, we are yet to see this, indicating a shift away from prioritising the global development initiatives. Policy reforms are also vital to this. The reforms such as the merger of the Department of International Development, DFID, into the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO, highlight how international development is no longer on the government's priority agenda. By neglecting their global responsibility, the UK is having serious impacts on the global effort to reduce poverty. We are undermining efforts to alleviate poverty, promote equality and addressing pressing global issues, hindering progress on a global scale and putting the pressure on NGOs and charities to pick up where we cannot do. It also has an impact on our soft power. The reduced expenditure on international aid diminishes the UK's influence globally, as international aid has historically been a crucial component of diplomatic influence and goodwill. The ODA certainly has a positive impact on the lives of those living in the most vulnerable and fragile places in the world. However, I understand that Western governments might need some personal incentive to increase funding for the ODA. So here goes. Committing to allocate 0.7% of gross national income to overseas development assistance reflects our firm commitment to international agreements and underscores our dedication to filling global responsibilities, particularly in the context of sustainable development goals. This commitment duly serves as a tangible demonstration of our solidarity with the global community and our resolve to address pressing challenges such as poverty, inequality and climate change. Enhanced impact. The increasing funding to the ODA holds potential to significantly enhance the impact of development programs worldwide. By expanding the reach and effectiveness of initiatives aimed at healthcare, education, poverty alleviation and sustainable development, we can address critical global challenges more comprehensively. This enhanced impact not only would improve lives of millions, but also contribute to building resilient and thriving communities, laying out the foundation for a more prosperous and equitable world. Probably the most important one here for Western nations would be stability and security. Investing in global development is not merely an act of charity, but a strategic imperative for fostering stability and security on a global scale. By addressing the root cause of conflict and extremism, such as poverty, inequality, and lack of access to education and healthcare, we can create conditions conducive to peace and prosperity. Moreover, investing in global development strengthens diplomatic relations, builds trust, and fosters cooperation among nations, thereby promoting peace-building efforts and mitigating geopolitical tensions. Also important is leadership and cooperation. As leaders in international development, we have responsibility to lead by example and inspire others to join us in collective action. By committing to allocate 0.7% of GNI to ODA, we set a precedent for other nations to follow, reinforcing our role as a global leader in addressing shared challenges. Moreover, through effective partnerships through collaborative governments, civil society organisations and multilateral institutions, we can leverage collective resources and expertise to achieve greater impact and accelerate the progress towards our shared goals. Thank you everyone for taking the time out of your day to listen to me discuss the importance of overseas development assistance in addressing global challenges and fostering a more equitable world. One more thing I'd like to ask is, if you're interested in this, please take action. Email your MPs. I invite you to take action and make your voice heard. Email members of Parliament and urge them to prioritise and increase funding for the ODA. Together we can advocate for policies that support global development and make a meaningful difference in the lives of millions worldwide. Furthermore, please do stay connected. For more information and updates on our advocacy efforts, please feel free to reach out to us, fox.pollock@gmail.com.